Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's your boy, Sam the Barber, aka Semi. This is the first video tutorial that I'm putting on this channel, so please subscribe, like, or leave a comment down below if you would like to see more content like this, as I will be posting more videos in the days to come. Today we will be covering a men's bald fade. I already used the trimmers to make a bald line all the way around, so I'm going to be starting with my clippers with no guard, closed, with the zero. As you can see, I only go up about maybe a quarter inch, and then I switch to my half and go up a little more. Most of that line is already gone, so the line of demarcation rises a little bit, so I go in between my zero and my half to erase the little bit of line that's left in between. You might still have a little bit of weight line from the zero and trimmer line, but we can go back at the end with the trimmers to clean that up. As you can see, his hair is a little bit curly, even wavy when it's a little shorter, so to remove some of this bulk, I actually have my one guard on there, and I was going down with the grain just so I could get an easier blend. So now I'm going with my one against the grain, and I'm blending in from the half to the one, and you can see there's still a little bit of weight there, but we can go back and clean that up after with the half. So right here, I'm brushing the hair down, as when I'm using the clippers, it kind of pushes the hair up, so I constantly want to brush and keep the hairs going back down. I switch back to my half so that I could remove that line of demarcation between the half and the one. I continue to brush the hair down as I grab my one guard. I want to continue to blend that line of demarcation from the half to the one. Just make sure there's no line there. I want the haircut to look as clean as possible. As you can see, most of that blend is already achieved. Right here, I switched to my two guard. Again, I'm going with the grain a little bit, not to take much off, just to remove a little weight, and then I start going against the grain. I want to just make sure it blends smoothly into the top. We're going to sponge brush the top of his head, and he's keeping the length there, so that was like, just want to get a nice good blend. Any weight that you see, definitely want to go back. Since he has wavy hair, I do go in with the grain in certain areas just to achieve the blend a little easier when I go back against the grain. As you can see, we still have a little bit of weight left in there, so I go back in there with my half after using the one, just to get that little bit right there. Just pay attention to detail when you're cutting. If you're doing these cuts at home, you could kind of, once you get started, you'll realize it's really as simple as 1, 2, 3, or really to break it down, it's more like 0, half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. If you could get that concept down, you will be able to blend with no problem. At this stage, most of that blend is achieved. I just want to go back with my trimmers and clean up the bald line that was left behind between the trimmers and the zero from the clippers, and then I'll be ready to move on to my next section. As you can see, it's still left a little bit, so I go back with the clippers just to clean that up. And that looks good. So I'm going to move to my next section and just repeat the same process. Go with the zero, maybe about a quarter inch up. Go with my half right to the line of demarcation. As you can see, it creates another line in which I will go right in between my half and my zero, and just go in there and get the little bit of weight out that's left. If there's a little bit more there, go a little bit lower down to the zero, and you'll be able to remove that as well. So I switch to my one guard, go up a little bit higher with this blend, creating another line of demarcation, and same as before, I come down where his hair gets a little bit longer to remove some of that bulk. I'll go against the grain here to continue to blend from the half to the one. I want to remove as much weight as I can with that one, because I have to go back with my half and try to remove any weight or line of demarcation that is left behind. And as you can see, that half just brings it all together right there. I might have to get a little bit more weight with the one, but for the most part, we're doing pretty good. Alright, here I put my one guard back on. I want to continue to blend, especially in that area near the colic. I don't want to go too high with this blend, but I do want to remove any darkness so that we have a nice smooth transition into the top. I brush any hair out of the way so that I can see and make sure that I'm not, there's no extra blending that I'm missing. Just want to keep the area clean as I cut. And once again, I go back with the trimmers and remove the bald line that we created at first between the trimmers and the zero. Pretty simple concept to fade. As you can see, it looks like a really nice clean blend. Get any weight at the top, that'll just blend into the top. Remember, he's keeping the length on top, so I just want to get a nice blend on the sides that'll just transition into the top nice, in which we will be sponging after to give him a little bit of a twist look. I've seen a little bit of weight here, so I went back with my 1.5 and then went down to the 1 to clean up any excess hair that may have been causing a little bit of a weight line. I still have a little bit of weight there, so I want to go back with my trimmers and kind of just lightly flick out a little bit so that I could remove any line that's there and blend into that zero. If there is anything left, I can go back with my zero and just come a little higher just to make sure that's all cleaned up. And that's what I'm doing here. So it's kind of just a dance, you want to go back and forth, and you might see a little bit of line. You might have to go up in length a little bit or down in length just to remove any weight that's there, but just going back and forth with it and just not giving up, being patient, and don't panic when you see a line. This is really just common sense. 0, half, 1, 1.5, 2. That's what we're doing in this haircut. So as you can see, back to the first step, I'm doing my 0 with my clippers, then going to the half. Each time I may be going up about a 1/4 inch, just enough to blend into the top, because we have a little bit of room to go from a 0 to a 2. So here I switch to my 1, and I'm going from the half to the 1, still leaving room for my blend up to about a 2, so I need to leave room to blend up to that 2. So I go back with the grain, remove any bulk that's over there in the parietal ridge, and then I continue to blend against the grain to remove some of that bulk. And as you can see here, there's really not much of the blend left to achieve. We already got the 0, the half, so I'll be using my 1, and my 1.5 will blend right into the 2. If I have to go back and clean up any weight, that shouldn't be a problem at all. Just gotta follow the steps. See, the fade's already looking pretty good. Still see a little bit of weight, so I'm getting in there with the half, trying to remove any line of demarcation or any weight that's left behind on his left side. I can still see a trimmer line here, so I have to go back with the trimmers and clean up the line from the trimmer 0 to the clipper 0. And I just continue to work the blend. Right here I'm using my number 1, and I notice in this corner he still has a little bit of weight towards the front. As you see, I'll be trying to get that in a moment. Nice clean blend though. This is something that I feel anyone could do. You don't have to be an artist. to be a barber, you know, but it does take skills to be the best barber. So, you know, there's always learning to do. There's always something to learn. There's always room for improvement. So if you're just getting into this, don't get discouraged. Just keep trying, man, because you know your first cut might not be the best, but you keep going at it, and you'll be all right. You'll be surprised how fast that you improve your skills if you just stay at it. You know, practice makes perfect. So right here, as you can see, I continue to work the blend with the zero from my clippers, and I went back and forth to the trimmers to continue to move any line or any weight lines. Fade looks pretty good. I can still see a couple of dark spots that I want to go back and clean up. If you look straight at a cut, sometimes, you know, it might look great to the naked eye, but if you look in the mirror will actually show you the flaws of the haircut. The mirror doesn't lie, so make sure you look back at your mirror a lot, at your client's head, and it'll give you a different view than looking straight at them, and you'll be able to see a lot more flaws and what you need to do to achieve the blend. So that's some good advice I could give you as far as blending goes. As you can see here, I'm just going back and forth between my half and my one, and just removing any weight that I see, just trying to get them looking good. And for the most part, that fade looks pretty clean. I might go back and touch a couple spots up. You know, I want to blend the sideburns here a little bit. He doesn't have much, but just enough so that there's no separation by the ear between the hair from the sideburn and where I started the fade. It's very common that it's easy to forget to blend that line, and it's really just an amateur mistake. So you make sure you blend the sideburns always. You do not want to leave a line there unless they ask for that. If the client wants that, you know, that's understandable. A lot of people that may shave their head bald, maybe they want that line of separation there, but it looks really nice with a blend, so I definitely recommend blending your sideburns. As you can see here, I used my straight blade, and I started with the hook right there, and I made a little line. And I don't want to go too high with this. I want to use his natural hairline. And with the sideburns, I come back and I kind of just made 2 points in which I could just connect the dots. And I'll show you that again here on the other side when we get there. Alright, you see I start in this corner. I just use a little water so the blade can slide smoothly. Blending his sideburns. I start with the corner line, nice and natural. Make sure they were even on both sides. Then I want to make the sideburn line. As thick as I want the sideburn, I want to make that line. And then there's just a small piece of hair that I need to connect. So I just connect the dots. And you got yourself a nice edge up there. Go back and clean up any hairs to make sure it's nice and curved. You got a good transition there. Go against the grain on some of these hairs right there. If they're a little darker, you know, it's good to go against the grain. Your edge up will be a lot sharper. Some people you might not want to go against the grain with. If you know their skin is sensitive and you know they break out, then I would definitely recommend going with the grain. We're gonna sponge the top, so I wanted to push his hairline. I wanted to brush his hairline back, not push his hairline back. But then I start in the middle. I always start in the middle of the edge up in the front, and I go with my trimmers. I use their natural hairline just to get the sharpest line I could get, but I don't want to overcompensate. I don't want to go too far back. You know, you want to, I already made my hook where I could see where the bottom corner of his box is. So I want to line up my top line with where that bottom corner is going to be. And I make sure I don't go too far out to the side, because it's easy to, like I said, to overcompensate, to push somebody's edge up back. And you know, nobody wants their front line and their edge up or their boxes pushed back. It will throw your whole haircut off. And you know, the edge up is what makes the whole haircut. So I continue to edge from the middle to the side, getting any hairs that stay in the front that hang down maybe. And you can see he has a little light spot there. I don't really want to go too far back on him. He has a nice natural hairline, and since we're sponging it, I'll sponge it and I'll go back and clean up any hairs. So I just add a little water there. After I hit it with the trimmers, I'm gonna hit it with the razor. I'll match up the corners from my hook to his front line with the razor. Then I'll go ahead and I'll get his front line started with the razor as well. I just want to get the corner and just pretty much clean up everything I did with the trimmers, and you know, get a nice sharp line going. It makes a huge difference using the straight blade. After I started with the straight blade, I really can't go back to doing edge ups with just clippers. Like, the straight blade really changes the game. So definitely, if you don't have one and you're trying to become a barber, get your hands on the straight blade. You know, order them on Amazon. I use Dorco razor blades. They seem to be the best for me. I'm not really a fan of derbies. Not trying to crap on the brand, but I feel like I've gotten a lot of defective blades from them, so I stick with Dorco. The Dorco Platinums are the best. They come in a blue box, but I use the red ones sometimes too. They're you know, a little bit more affordable, and they're still really good blades. So that's my recommendation, using the Dorco blades. So I continue his edge up. You know, I just want to match up my corners, clean up his front line. I still see a little bit of weight in that corner that I spoke about earlier that I want to come back and get. So I use my 1 here and my 1.5, and I also use my 2 guard. And I just go right there on the parietal ridge by the corner and just remove any weight that I see. You know, give him a good brush. He actually has like a little bit of a light spot there, but it's nothing that's going to take away from the haircut. Actually looks pretty good. So I just want to go back, brush the front, see everything I edged up, see if I have any hairs hanging down from his front line, and go back and clean them up. After you do the razor and the clipper, sometimes, you know, front lines are a little bit tricky. I could brush a front line 20 times and sometimes you'll still see little hairs come down on certain textured hairs. So you just want to be thorough and make sure you brush. And right here I seen the little hairs hanging over the corner. I wanted to get with the clippers, and you can see it looks good. For the most part, he got a nice clean front line, a good nice clean blend, and just want to clean up his mustache a little bit. You know, he doesn't have much there, but there's a little bit of facial hair. You know, I want to get him looking good, looking fine for the ladies, you know. So I'm gonna get his mustache shaped up, get this young fella cleaned up, and I just want to go with my blade. And as you can see, I'm just using a regular freehand stroke on his mustache, stretching the skin, starting at the top and working my way down, keeping my blade at that correct angle so that I'm not going to cut him. And as I stretch the skin, give him a nice clean mustache line. You know, it didn't even look like he had a mustache before, but you could tell now that it's shaped up, how good it looks. So just gonna clean up any excess hair around the way, around this hair that could be covering any line work that you did. So, you know, I want to make sure that all my lines are visible and that I'm not missing anything or leaving hairs behind, because it's easy to miss a hair, leave a hair behind that's separate from the line. And you know, you don't want them to go back home later and be like, oh man, he missed a spot, or he didn't trim the hair over my ears, or you know, he missed some hairs in the cheek. So you just want to be thorough. Take your time and just pay attention. Shaped up his chin. I did the line on top. Now I want to go underneath, kind of like, you know, it's almost like when you're doing this, it almost has like a smile shape to it. I didn't go perfectly square with him, but just want to use their natural shape of their face and the natural way the hair grows and just enhance it. You know, you just want to make it look good, make it look sharp, and it'll complement their look. So I'm just cleaning up under his chin, making sure he has no extra hair. Like I said, just being thorough. You'd be surprised. People really appreciate that. You go the extra mile, you know, when someone has hair in their ears, to go shave their ears or get their nose hairs, you know, it'll be a big difference. And it'll separate you from other barbers, you know, because a lot of people don't think to get the small stuff, or they leave it behind. So you definitely want to pay attention to detail when you're doing these haircuts. And as you can see, I think this is a mission complete. We're looking good. Bald fades in there. Facial hair is all shaped up. He got a nice clean edge up. Front line's looking good. I think we're ready to get this sponge out and twist his top up a little bit. As you can see, he had a smile, so he's happy with his haircut. I'm happy with the results, so let's get this sponge moving, and we're gonna see we're gonna see what we could do here. I'm gonna pick the hair out just because the sponge will grab the hair a little bit better when it's picked out. I actually didn't use any product on him. Sometimes it's good to use a curling cream when you're gonna do the sponge, but I didn't use any product for him. His hair, the sponge grabs his hair pretty good, so I wasn't too worried about that. And with the sponge, you really just want to go in circular motions, as any hair would just go into the little holes that are in the sponge and they'll grab and they'll create a little twist. So you just want to work your way in there and just keep going in circular motions, and you'll see the hair start twisting up nicely. And it doesn't have to be, it's not going to be like a dreadlock, you know, it's kind of just a nice style. So I use both sides of my sponge too. There's a textured side and there's a flat side. Both seem to grab the hair pretty good, so I kind of go back and forth. Brush any hair out the way and kind of make sure that blend looks good going into the top. And that looks good, so we're gonna call that a wrap. Thank you for watching this video. Like I said, please subscribe, like, leave a comment down below. I appreciate you guys checking in, and I appreciate you guys following my channel and sticking with me. This will be a new thing that I'll be trying to drop a video more often, hopefully every week, maybe even every few days. So definitely stay tuned, as I will be also dropping some new music that I will be putting on this channel. So any music that I put on here, any content, will probably be most of my own. So definitely I'm gonna build a YouTube channel for the music too, so definitely you guys could make your way over there and follow that as well. And yeah, man, thank you guys. That's all I could say, man. Thank you. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and thanks for checking in. It's your boy, Semi.